Hello and welcome to the Johnny Gets Cash YouTube channel. This is my 2005 Bentley Continental GT, and if you're a follower of this channel, you'll already be aware that I bought this car a few months ago. Now, I've been trading my way up from a cheap car to a supercar for a little while now, and I found myself with over £30,000 in the kitty. And whereas this is not a supercar, I thought to myself, it's a car I've always wanted and I've got the budget, so why don't I go and buy this as well as something else to keep trading with? So I've been using this as my own car basically, while I've been continuing to trade up. Well, I've had this car for a little while now, as I say, and you'll probably be able to tell from the state of it, I've been using it and I've been using it hard. I've probably done over 1,000 miles in this thing already, and that doesn't sound like a lot, but for me, with so many cars in stock, I rarely drive a car so regularly. But this car has been everything I want it to be and more. A car I've always wanted to get my hands on. Normally it's a case of don't meet your heroes, but in my case, I absolutely love the old Bentley. While I've been using it, as is always the case, there's a few little niggly bits that have started to annoy me on the car, and today I'm going to get to grips with it and start working my way through the little faults, the little things that I don't really like, and making it into a better example. Eventually I will of course clean this thing up properly, prepare it fully, and it will be sold, but while I'm enjoying it so much, I just want to get these little niggly bits sorted and continue to run it probably over the winter, because a four-wheel drive car like this is perfect for where I live. Okay, so the first thing I want to deal with is a bit of an odd one. Basically, when you use the indicators in this Bentley, there is no repeater sound. So if the indicator is on, you should hear that familiar tick, tick, tick sound. As you can hear from my microphone, whichever indicator I use, I don't have that sound. Now, I understand this to be a relatively common fault on these cars. There's a little speaker in the binnacle itself, and that fails. So being that this car is a 2005, I suppose it stands to reason that that speaker could have failed by now. So what I need to do is remove this surround, remove the binnacle, whip the speaker out and put a new one in, and we'll see if we can get these indicators making a sound. So let's crack on with that. So we're all refitted, everything's gone back together nicely, and I'm pleased to say that new speaker is doing the trick. Now also, when I was refitting this, a little warning light came up about having the door open, etc., and it also makes a noise to do with doors and warnings, everything basically, so it's not just that indicator sound you can hear. So it turns out I've been driving around in the Bentley without any of the noises associated with any of the minor day-to-day warnings, but now that is sorted, I can get on with the next thing I want to tackle in this video. Okay, so the next minor thing I want to tackle is to do with the shifter. Now, on an automatic like this, you've got a cover which goes over the shifter itself. Now, when you move the gear stick back and forwards, this cover stops dust and dirt going down into the mechanism. I noticed a little problem the other day. When I was driving, on the Bentley, you've got a gear indicator, so it tells you if you're in reverse, neutral, drive, etc. But what I did notice, all of a sudden, all of the emblems lit up. So according to the car, I was in every gear at once. Now, I wasn't that alarmed because the car was driving absolutely perfectly. It was shifting through the gears fine, so I thought it was some kind of sensor. Now, I've done a little bit more research, and according to the Owners Club, this little rubber cover over the shifter itself can break down over time, and when that happens, the little bits of rubber and plastic that come off of it can get on top of the magnets, which act as a sensor to the car to tell it where the gear stick is. And if that happens, the car doesn't know what gear it's in, and so it throws the error code, essentially, which means lighting up all of the indicators. So I've had a look at this, and at first I couldn't see any damage, but what I have found is when I shift the stick all the way back into sport, you can see a little bit of breakdown. This is, again, original to the car, and the car is a 2005, so I'm not surprised it's breaking down. Anyway, I've gone ahead and got a new one of these, and again, I've done something which I think is a little bit clever. A Bentley item, again, is a lot of money. I was getting quotes for well over £100 for this little piece of rubber, but what I have found is from an Audi A8, it's exactly the same part, and it will fit exactly where it should here, and hopefully sort my issue. Now, it is only an intermittent issue, but I am aware that one day I'm going to sell this car, and I don't want to sell it with any known issues, whether that's intermittent or permanent. So that is why I'm going to go ahead and change this cover right now. Okay, so here is the new part I have bought. As I said before, this is for an Audi A8. I'm reliably informed that it will work with the Bentley GT without having to pay the Bentley tax on top of it. Now you'll see there are a couple of little magnets in here. So what I believe is happening is, as the stick is shifting like this slides for sport mode. Where it's broken down in the past at the very front, little bits of this rubber, which I suppose it stands to reason will break down over time, have got in the way of these little magnets, and they're upsetting the sensor. So that is the part I've bought. As briefly mentioned, I didn't have to pay Bentley tax on this because this is an Audi A8 part. Now, I was getting quotes for around £100, slightly more, slightly less in different places as a Bentley part. This Audi A8 part I paid just over £10 for delivered. So if that works and does the trick, I'll have scored a real winner there, I think. So after a bit of a fight, I've got the shifter surround out, and you can see the boot in question, and if I can shift this all the way down now, you can see it's all cracked and broken there, and that is what I think is causing the problem. So what I need to do is separate this stainless steel cover from the plastic body itself, obviously being as careful as possible not to break anything, and that should give me access to the boot itself, and I can put this nice new one in. So that's what I've got to do now, figure out how to do this as sympathetically as possible. Okay, so that was a bit of a fight actually, trying to do that carefully without damaging anything too badly, but it was well worth it. As you can see, this is the original cover, and it is, as suspected, broken, and I can't see anything actually stuck on the contacts that would have caused a problem, but I'm also pretty certain that it wasn't going to be working as well as it should have like that. So that old one can be replaced. Make sure I put this back in the right way. That looks correct. And see, these metal contacts obviously ride up against these, the underside of this board here, I'm assuming. So that has to go back in like that. Now I can refit this part. I think what I'll do is get a clean microfiber and give everything a bit of a clean as it goes back together, because it makes sense. I don't want to have to take this apart again, so I want all the muck gone. Okay, that's now ready to stick back in the car. Okay, so there we go. The new shift cover is in, no damage as per the old one, and also the indicator works exactly as it should. So I'm really pleased with that. Another small job, but a good one to have checked off. So with those two jobs finished in today's episode, that binnacle speaker and also the gear shift cover, that brings us a little bit closer to making this car as good as it can be. Now in previous videos, I've also dealt with some more common Bentley faults, namely a saggy leather headliner, I've repaired that, and also a non-functional high-level brake light, which I've repaired. If you want to see those videos, I'll put a link at the top of this video so you can check them out. If you've enjoyed what you've seen today and you want to see more on the Bentley, you want to see how far I go with it and how far I go with my trading up series in general, make sure you hit that subscribe button if you're not subscribed already. But as always, thank you ever so much for watching, and I will of course catch you on the next one. Cheers.